Hey friends, this is Ian Khan and welcome to this episode of Foresight. In this episode, I'm going to talk about a big revolutionary breakthrough that humanity has had. Subscribe to this channel right now before you watch any further. Click the bell icon and subscribe so that next time when my video goes live, you know what's going on. We've had a chopper, a helicopter that flew on another planet, on planet Mars, and it was controlled from here on Earth. Now, it's a very big thing. It's literally a giant leap in space travel, in intergalactic travel, in propulsion technology, in so many different categories that I had to make this video. So here are some details. So the Perseverance rover landed on Mars in February this year, and it was launched a while ago. A lot of activities happening with respect to Mars. Some people want to go live on Mars, some want to colonize Mars, and often you hear people saying, well, there's so many things to do here on Earth and so many problems to solve. Why are we all going to Mars? And I just want to clarify this, that it's not really about going and running away from the problems on Earth or not wanting to solve problems on Earth and going to Mars. In fact, on the contrary, if people, innovators and inventors and thinkers don't push the boundaries of where we can go, then we would never have anything, because we'll always have some problem or the other to solve here on Earth. Look at the current crises that we all are going through. COVID-19 is happening, but there are other areas of innovation that are still progressing, technology that are progressing. We're still working on other things, and so we can't stop innovating just because we're facing a problem. Maybe we need to solve our problems in a different or creative way, but going to a different planet, exploring space, exploring different galaxies, we have to give fuel to our curiosity. Living on Mars it's always been a fascinating topic, and this rover is the new rover that's up there is really much more advanced than the previous one. It's got new technology, new ways to analyze samples, and everything went really well when it landed on Mars in Feb. Now, one of the coolest features of this rover is that it has a small helicopter on it, a small tiny device, not a huge helicopter, but a tiny helicopter on it that can be sent out on different missions for collecting soil samples, for going to places on Mars where the rover cannot go all the time because it moves really slow. It doesn't go at the speed of light, or it doesn't even go as fast as a car. So the rover is slow, but the helicopter can do a lot of different things. So they did a test earlier this week, and this helicopter took off for about 30 seconds. It flawlessly flew in the air and hovered up above the ground, and it was a huge success. Now, scientists at and controllers at JPL, the Jet Propulsion Lab here on Earth, were able to control this helicopter and get it to move and get it to land and do all of the functions that they wanted it to do. One of the things that we need to keep in mind is that the atmosphere on Mars is about more than 95% rarer and thinner than that on planet Earth. Now, gravitational force is something, and the atmosphere is something else. It's two different things. And so we're not talking about gravity right now. We're talking about the atmosphere. And it's really thinner than planet Earth. Now, that makes a big difference when you talk about devices that fly, helicopters, aeroplanes, because they work on the formula of something called an airfoil. They work on the formula of using air to rise and to fall. And if there's no air, how will these devices rise and fall? They need something. And so that's why it was very cool for the scientists to demonstrate, and the team to demonstrate, that this helicopter, which is not working on jet propulsion, so there's no jet propulsion at the bottom, but it's working on a rotor mechanism where it has a rotor, the rotor is pushing air down, and it's rising up and it's rising up. That's the fundamental way that this helicopter worked. And so it's been the first such device that human beings have been able to send to a different planet, and it actually worked. And that's the big breakthrough that we all should really appreciate and acknowledge. And we are truly living in the era of innovation and the fourth industrial revolution and whatnot. This time will be talked about for hundreds of years from now. So we're one of the lucky ones to see these breakthroughs and what's happening right now. This opens up the idea of what else is possible now that we can fly a device on a different planet. Can we now go and live on the moon? Can we? What else can we do? I think first of all, it sets up the precedent that we can do things that were previously impossible. I think in the future we're going to probably see larger vehicles or larger rover type vehicles that'll be sent to the moon, sent to Mars, or maybe other planets out there that we haven't been able to reach. We can also assume and expect that, let's say 20, 30, 50 years down the line, there actually might be a colony on Mars, and there might be scientists or researchers or people or tourists visiting Mars, and they could have a transportation device such as a helicopter to go from one place to the other. So all those scenarios in movies or books or sci-fi books could actually come true in the future, but I don't see that happening in the next few years or even the next 10 years. We can also start thinking about this evolution of drone technology, the evolution of drones in general that are now able to be battery operated, so the fuel usage is completely different. As an example, in this helicopter and in the rover, there's different mechanisms. The rover is working on radioactivity, whereas the helicopter is working on charged batteries and so on and so forth. So even that technology has changed a lot, and it's helping us do things in a different way. Here are some cool facts about the rover. So it was the rover was launched in July 30th. On July 30th, 2020, landed on Mars in Feb 2021. So it took almost a year, just shy of a year, to get to Mars. So it's a long journey, and its purpose is to explore for signs of life on Mars, explore for water. Was there ever water here, or is there any remnants of microorganisms at Mars? And because Mars is the closest to us, it still has a little bit of favorable conditions where we can send things. That it's always been attractive. The rover itself is 3 meters in length. It's about 2.7 meters in width and 2.2 meters in height, and weighs about 1,000 kgs, 1,000 kg weight. And it's powered by radioisotopes and thermoelectricity. What else can I tell you? The name of the helicopter is Ingenuity. That's the name of the helicopter, and it's now the only aircraft in history to be powered and controlled on another planet. It flew for 39.1 seconds, which is huge. Now here's a cool thing about Ingenuity, the helicopter. It had on it a small piece of the actual plane that the Wright brothers flew when they flew their first airplane. So it has a small, tiny fabric from that plane attached to it underneath underneath its body, and it's just for the sake of fun and to relive that memory of Wright brothers. The team put it up there, so that's incredible. The operating conditions on Mars are not very favorable, and for that, the design of the rover, the design of the helicopter, both had to be really seriously taken into consideration. For example, the temperature on Mars can reach up to minus 90 degrees Celsius, and that's super cold. So electronics have to function in that temperature under those weather conditions, and also because of the rarity of the atmosphere, they had to really change how the helicopter works. It would work totally different on Earth. And for example, the rotation speed of the rotors is about 2,400 RPM, and that's super fast. That's very fast, and that's the reason why it's able to fly. The rover is actually also testing something very important, and because this week was also Earth Week, I think we have to talk about carbon reduction and preserving our planet. One of the technologies that the rover is testing on Mars is called MOXIE, and it stands for Mars Oxygen Insight resource utilization. It essentially is a mechanism to create oxygen from carbon dioxide, just in similar way, just as plants create oxygen from CO2, MOXIE technology will create oxygen. What MOXIE can do is create oxygen on Mars for people. If we end up visiting Mars and you're a visitor, you live there, you're a scientist, it's the idea of how do we generate oxygen on a different planet. This can also have a lot of implications on our usage of oxygen on Earth, right? We can maybe take the carbon dioxide on Earth and convert it into oxygen, and that could be a big benefit of carbon reduction on Earth. So it could have a really huge environmental impact, very positive environmental impact, if this technology really works and it's proven that yes, it will be beneficial. I think it's going to take time because the experiment on Mars is it's a very preliminary research experiment, and if you're looking at the MOXIE technology to become commercial, it could take a decade or plus or more, and by the time it's mass adopted and it's everywhere, it could be 20-25 years. So that's kind of the realistic expectation that we should have. So the question is, what should we expect from Mars, the travel to Mars? Should we expect flights taking off to Mars and all of that happen? There are companies such as SpaceX and others who are trying to do that and do first commercial flights to different planets, intergalactic flights, inter-orbit flights. I think in the next 5 to 10 years we might see the first commercial flight that's taking space tourists out there, and they're visiting other planets, potentially just outer orbit, but also other planets. So that's to come. This week, friends, has been incredible. Look up more information about this launch, the helicopter Ingenuity, the rover on Google. It's everywhere. Go to my website, iankhan.com, to learn more, and stay in touch with innovative breakthroughs that are taking place in our world, and let's stay connected to be part of the future that's being created right now. Until next time, take care. This is Ian. See you soon.